If Ethan Hunt is running the national intelligence, then we should be in a good spot.
If I can have 2 Adam Drivers, I'll be happy, but I wanted a sexier one. How did we pick the same one?
The ultimate form of transportation, driving a little car around.
I don't know shit about shit when it comes to the interior. Does that mean like the interior decorator? Between the two of us, we have Borat and MacGruber in our cabinet.
Picked a woman for national intelligence.
What, she can't do the job?
He's great and all, but I have to pick Godzilla. Ultimately, if Godzilla's on your side, you're probably just going to be the winner.
Frankly, my number one priority in life is to be no man's peace.
He can actually directly inject us with vaccines or something.
I might scare some people.
That's fine. They can be scared.
Get back to your passions. Drink a White Russian on a Tuesday morning. Why is that such a good explanation?
It just is. I had to figure out a way to get Zendaya in my cabinet.
Please do not fact check me on this. I am literally just a girl. I don't know what I'm doing. Hello, and welcome back to the Cinema Scoop podcast with Sam and Jordan. We're back, baby.
Yep.
We are so back.
We're back for sure.
Today we will be doing a podcast that may seem quite political, but I might mention just at the top of the episode that this is a very apolitical kind of conversation that we will be having, so take that as it is.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a fun conversation. So we're doing our own presidential cabinet picks, but they're all going to be movie characters, and we each have our own cabinet.
Yes.
That we will discuss briefly, so this isn't too long, because there's 17 positions, or 18. It's
there's more if you really
look at it. You can get up to the 20s if you want to get specific on who was the president in real life, and because some of these are made up from president to president. So
yeah,
these are kind of the core, let's say 20 or so positions.
I think the other thing that's important to note about this is that we are not well versed in the job descriptions of each of these cabinet positions. We did not do a ton of research as far as what does the UN ambassador do? What does the...
Yeah, we went out of our way to avoid that.
Yeah.
It would be funnier.
So if you're a person that's been really mentally struggling over the past 2 weeks, grappling with just what is going on, then you should get a really big kick out of this. This should be a little bit of, as I guess Bo Burnham says, healing the world with comedy. If you're having a great time over the last 2 weeks, I don't know what the fuck you're doing here listening to our podcast, but...
Also, this is our first episode using 2 mics.
Yeah.
So hopefully, technically, this sounds better than our previous episodes.
This way we can actually talk over each other and you get both parts.
And we're also holding them the whole time, so hopefully it's easier to hear us at this distance.
Yes.
So
if the audio sucks, I don't want to hear about it. Just let us be.
We'll have to do a secretary of audio, which I don't have currently, but okay, so I guess I'll go first. We also thought about should we be the president, but
I do not want that.
Yeah, we decided to make our own so we were picking our own president, vice president, all the secretaries of everything, attorney general, UN ambassador. We'll get through them all as we go, but
yeah,
the first one we'll do is president,
and we'll kind of go down the list.
So I had to pick President Barbie from the movie Barbie.
Hell yeah, that's a great pick.
With Issa Rae.
I love that. That is awesome.
I felt if she had actually had control of things, especially in this conversation, it'd be much better than certain other realities that are currently potentially happening. But
we're currently at the part of the movie where the Kens are taking over, and there's a couple of Barbies that are pandering to the Kens and wearing maid costumes. Yeah. That's literally what's going on. So
yeah, so I think if she properly had her shot, I haven't rewatched it, but don't they get a Congress together and stuff, and they actually create new policies for the future, which is a quality in a president I'd like to have. So
wouldn't that be great to have one day? I love that.
If your president's not a woman, I'm a better feminist than you.
You are a better feminist than me. I picked a white man, cishet man to be my president. Because truly, I think this is the only white cishet man that I trust at this point. Well, besides you and maybe 2 other guys that I can think of. But he's totally fictional. But I picked Dale Cooper from Twin Peaks because he would do the silliest things that would catch all of the funniest headlines. He would go on all the podcasts. He would get the bro vote. he would get everyone's vote because everyone's like, well, he's just like charming and funny. He would also do that weird thing with his hands like David Lynch does, where he's just like, he would do the weave better than the inventor of the weave, honestly. He would get there and be like, I heard it in a dream, therefore this is what we're going to have to do. And people would be like, well, God ordained it. I guess we got to go with it. And then all of the like left-brained people that are like very logical would just somehow agree with him because they'd be like, he hasn't fucked anything up yet. I guess he's right. So I also think he is...
So you're picking Dale Cooper from Fire Walk with Me, which is the movies, which is only in for like 5 minutes or 10 minutes.
Let's be clear. I think Dale Cooper is a character that appears in a movie but exists in a TV show but exists outside of the realm of time and space. And you're learning that because you're in the middle of watching The Return, so you understand. Yes. But I also just think he would be, you know, as a person and like the heart that he has, he'd be willing to like do anything to save one person. Therefore, like, what would he do to save America? I also think he would just like make coffee like readily available to people.
That's a good policy.
That's a life-changing policy. So that's my pick.
Your vice president with Dale Cooper.
I balance things out here, and I think you'll agree with this pick. This just seems like the best, most, you know, person that's going to be on the picket lines, the person that's going to be like, I won't let for oppression stand, and it's Katniss Everdeen. I just think that she would be the best counter to Dale Cooper because she would be the one that understands the plight of like the poor. She would understand, you know, fascism.
Bow and arrow.
Yeah, and like she would be the one that would just be willing to like fight to the death for anything. And anytime Dale just like is in his like kind of spacey, like thinking about the universe and stuff, she would bring it back down to earth a little bit for him. I would imagine her as being like the female Truman a little bit to like his, you know, the counterpart of like, you know, Truman is very like straightforward and like
the sheriff in the show, not Harry Truman.
I don't care. Not Harry S. Truman, the actual president. I'm talking about Harry S. Truman, the sheriff.
Yes. No, I'm on. Yes,
the sexier Harry Truman. I digress. I still think it's a good pick.
Okay, so my vice president is Samwise Gamgee from Lord of the Rings.
That's an incredible pick.
I mean, I felt like it was obvious. Like, I feel like I've already got the better of these two already, but
I'd probably vote your ticket over my ticket, but I'd have a hard time because I would be voting personality ticket with Dale Cooper.
Sure. So for Samwise, it's like he like the ultimate helper, the ultimate guy who will go to the fires of Mordor for the survival of mankind or humankind or whatever. So it's like he would be the ultimate VP to any president, and I think to President Barbie, it would even be a better fit.
Yep.
Kind of like a younger, more hobbity Tim Walz.
I totally agree with that.
So I think it's just an obvious pick.
He does have that like angry quality to him that would kind of rile people up, because there was right when you first said that, I kind of thought, isn't he a little bit of like kind of like a he's kind of like a cuck, like he's not going to get anything done. And then I thought about it and I was like, actually he gets like really angry at points. I could see him being like, mind your own damn business.
Yeah,
like
he's
I could
one of
see
those
him
guys
being,
who,
you know,
when the moment needs it, he strikes and lets it out for life-altering altercations.
Yeah.
So I think
I also forever have always called you Samwise. So
well, there's that too. But yeah, I think if President Barbie became non-sentient again and like became a doll, that Samwise would be right there ready.
He would have her in mind in his, you know.
Yeah, so it's good to have a living being in case of your doll doesn't work out anymore. Okay, so my next pick is Secretary of State. So I don't know what order you had these in. I'm just gonna
we'll do your order.
Or just pick whatever. Okay. So most of these positions are like Secretary of something, right? So so Secretary of State, I honestly don't even know what they would do. I think in real life Hillary Clinton was the Secretary of State, like when Obama was president or something. I don't know. So like they're like third in line or fourth in line to president, maybe. So during this exercise, I just thought of it as like the ultimate secretary position out of all of these. So I picked Lee Holloway from Secretary, Maggie Gyllenhaal, as the Secretary of State.
That's so good. Ultimate Secretary.
Exactly, and I thought you would really appreciate that.
I 100%
'Cause
appreciate
I know you love
that.
that movie. As we go through the rest of these, it was more, I guess it was easier to understand what the position was just by the name, but when you think of Secretary of State, I was like, okay, I guess that's just like the State of the Union, or like all the states, or like how everything functions. So it sounds like it's like the number one secretary. So maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I thought of it as. So what's your Secretary of State?
I love your pick. I, on the other hand, picked based off somebody that I thought, because my general understanding of the Secretary of State, and please do not fact check me on this, I am literally just a girl. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm a girl with a microphone. So my understanding of Secretary of State is sort of like a person that handles affairs with other countries sometimes, and like handles a lot of like outside communication and stuff.
Possibly.
Sure. I don't know. I wanted somebody that could portray a positive outlook on the future, whether they sound crazy or not. So I picked Caesar Catalina from Megalopolis, which is Adam Driver.
Nice.
He's insane. That movie is mostly just built on the premise of moving walkways being funded by like solar power in the future. And I'm like, I don't know, I get behind that.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, I was thinking of potential characters from Megalopolis because there's so many that are really crazy. But I did not pick any of them, so I'm glad you have Adam Driver.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought he had to be somewhere in this, and there's not really a position where it's like Secretary of Architecture. So
Yeah.
I had to stick him in somewhere. So that's what she said.
So the next one I thought of was Chief of Staff. Sounded like they were like the lead manager of all of these positions.
Yeah,
But it didn't sound like they had actual power, like in the.
They're kind of just like the manager of these people.
That's what it sounded like.
We're projecting.
Like you're the chief of the staff, so it sounds like you're in charge of them.
They're the party planning committee. Let's call it what it is.
So who is your chief of staff?
My chief of staff is somebody that can rise to power quickly, somebody that can win the hearts of millions, somebody that, you know, can really butt up against the landscape that is the male gaze, shall we call it. Somebody that can win over the hearts of women and men, and me, quite frankly, and it's Sue from The Substance. I think in my universe, her body does not fall apart. Her teeth do not fall out. She does not find a balance. She just is able to be in this position for 4 to 8 years, depending on how long Dale Cooper is in office, or longer, if they let him, because he does such a good job. So my thoughts are that Sue would probably be the person that could wrangle everyone up and just be like, what does she say? She's like, control. I feel like, and she would just constantly be playing that Pump It Up song.
Yeah, so I have her at a different position.
Okay.
Spoiler alert.
Okay.
But we can either get to that next. We'll do that next.
Okay.
So
who's
yes, I
your
agree
chief
on
of
all of your explanations of her. I just have it at a slightly different position, but we'll get to that. Yeah, so my chief of staff is Zendaya from Challengers, Tashi Donaldson.
I considered her.
Because ultimately, once she gets hurt, and she's basically controlling both of the guys the rest of the way, and manipulating them, obviously, but also managing them.
Fuck. Yours is a word.
I had to figure out a way to get Zendaya in my cabinet.
Yeah.
And I couldn't put the Dune girl on there, so I ultimately went with Challengers. And yeah, when I thought about it more, I just thought her whole portrayal in that movie is just like I said, controlling these two guys. And so like it felt like she could control these other 18 people into doing what needs to be done.
They all make out with her.
Yeah, that would also be a net positive.
So I'm going to actually ask for your next pick. I want to know who you have for Secretary of Treasury.
Okay, so Secretary of Treasury, I have Eric Masters, portrayed by Willem Dafoe in To Live and Die in L.A.
Okay.
The guy who prints money, literally. So if he's in charge of the Treasury, like, we're always going to have plenty of money because he can just make it. Like, that's what I thought.
Why is that such a good explanation?
It just is. I mean, I thought of other guys in movies that have like either have lots of money or make lots of money, and like some of these kind of where I found trouble making decisions on some of these positions were like they were kind of overlapping and what they potentially could control or do. So Treasury, I thought was specifically money or even just saying cash, like the physical form of printing it. And so I just thought Eric Masters from To Live and Die in LA is just like easy pick.
I love that. Why can't we just print more money? I love it. My Treasury pick, I think, actually was a treasurer at one point, and it's Tracy Flick from the movie Election. She's like incredibly hateable, but she's gonna get shit done. I also think she knows a thing or two about election interference. Whether she participated or not is up to you and Matthew Broderick to decide, but I really liked that movie. I watched it maybe about a month ago. I thought it was really, really funny.
Yeah, I need to rewatch it. I almost was going to pick her for something, but yeah, I like that you have her on your cabinet.
I think I don't remember exactly, but she was like on the student council as a different position. I think she was treasurer at one point.
You might be right, yeah.
So I thought, she's got experience. And she actually, like, if you've seen the movie, she goes into actual real world politics at the end of the movie. So, yeah, incredibly, like, love to hate, hate to love type of character.
I'm just going to do the Secretary of Commerce because that was my Sue from The Substance.
Oh, okay.
So what's your Secretary of Commerce? And then I'll do my little thing about Sue for that position.
My understanding of commerce is buying and selling of goods. And I think probably somebody that clearly has a really big handle on their finances. They're totally like lavish lifestyle. They know how to buy a rug that really pulls the room together. It's the dude from The Big Lebowski. I just think he would like really stimulate the economy by being like, get back to your passions, drink a White Russian on a Tuesday morning, buy a rug that really ties the room together, go bowling, get yourself some jelly sandals.
Yeah, just chill and relax.
Smoke a J. Like, it's fine. Like,
That's a great pick.
He needed to be somewhere, and I felt like commerce was really, if he had money, he would know how to spend it.
Yeah, I just thought of it more as like making sure that the market of commerce is progressing positively. So like there were some people, like I was trying to like research. This was the one position I like really had trouble picking. And so I thought some people view like even influencers on social media to be part of commerce because it gets people to buy things or what have you. And so like I figured Sue, like she's doing that aerobic show.
That's good.
And I don't think she's technically selling anything other than obviously the show, but like she's on the billboards and then she like is doing the New Year's Eve thing at the end. So like
she's tapped in.
She would be, yeah. I thought of her as like a new famous starlet of Hollywood who like could make money going around. I don't know.
Totally. No, that's a great.
I think what you had was probably better. What did you have her under? Chief of Staff?
Yes. Yeah, Chief of Staff. Okay, so I'm going to ask you for another one. Who do you have for Secretary of Defense? Who is going to defend our great nation?
So this one
You're smiling.
Well, I picked somebody who is in a top 10 movie of mine, and then I was like, he's great and all, but I have to pick Godzilla. And ultimately, if Godzilla's on your side, you're probably just going to be the winner. So he obviously can't fly like jets or be great in the Air Force, so we would need like a secret division or a better division of military for that. So yeah, so I picked Godzilla for Secretary of Defense because if he is ever called upon, he like destroys cities. He can't really be killed. He can sneak in from the water.
And it makes sense.
And like he has 50 movies, and there's not really a specific one that I would say for this pick. I would just say ultimately Godzilla in any form you want. Like we watched Godzilla -1 relatively recently. I mean, that came out last year, but
great movie though.
Very good. And yeah, I just thought he would be great for this position.
You're really showing me up with some of these picks, honestly. Like, I'm shocked, dismayed. my defense pick, I will say I do stand by it. I don't think he would win in like a fist fight with Godzilla, but who would win in a fist fight with Godzilla? Let's be clear. I gotta give credit to April for this one, because this was her first and only suggestion when I told her that we were doing this podcast. And it's Charlie Swan from Twilight, because he is defender of my heart. And I also think, oh shit, I gotta unlock the computer.
Jordan is now nervously typing on her computer, hoping she gets her password right.
Yeah, well, I also, is there an exclamation point?
So
Nobody hacked my computer. No!
maybe there is, and we just
Put some intermission music here.
So we're back now, so
Yeah, so Charlie Swan, I feel like he would defend my heart. He would also, it just kind of comes down to that one specific scene where she's like trying to introduce, Bella's trying to introduce her dad to Edward. And he's like, all right, bring him in. And he's got his shotgun. Like, all right, give him like a pack of Rainier beers and he's good. A fish fry.
So to be clear, you're picking a dad with a mustache and a shotgun. And
Yeah.
Godzilla. So
I know what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I said it. I didn't think he would win in a fist fight with Godzilla, but let's be clear, who would? What, did you think I was going to pick a xenomorph or
now,
something?
would vampires be easier for her dad to kill with his shotgun, or would
No,
Godzilla
but the
have to kill with
vampires themselves aren't who the Secretary of Defense is necessarily going to defend
Well,
us
but if
from.
we already talked about vampires, you would rather have
Oh, that's the
Bella's
enemy from
dad
within.
instead of Godzilla. Godzilla might be a little ineffective against vampires. Is my
You've got a point. I mean,
learning to help you out of this hole that you're in.
look, all I'm saying is that I think that he would be a pretty good muscle man to get the job done. And like I said, I think he's precious and should be protected at all costs. And
Do you also want to have mostly like good characters on here, like good people you want to hang around, potentially?
we'll see. We'll see where we go with that. So that was my Secretary of Defense.
Who's your Attorney General,
All right.
and what was your process on this?
This is one of my favorite picks that I have because I have a very solid reason for that. Again, Attorney General, that means they're the best attorney. They're the nation's attorney, right? Totally. Don't fact check me on that.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Yes.
Right? Okay. I picked from the movie 12 Angry Men, juror number 8. Somebody that can really convince people exactly
This is
what
the Henry Fonda
I think so.
character.
Yeah. He's the one that like literally gets everybody to agree with him in favor of what he thinks is the right outcome of the trial.
But you want a juror to be your Attorney General?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes, I do. Because I mean, honestly, it was that or it was Jim Carrey in Liar Liar, but ultimately he's a bad guy. So it was like, okay, it's a toss up, bad guy that's like a lawyer but will defend his child, or like a really good juror who can win over all of his peers in favor of humanity and in favor of fairness and, kind of moving against prejudice. So
Yeah, so I was thinking of certain lawyers. I didn't actually think about Jim Carrey. I thought about like, is it Atticus Finch from
Yeah.
To Kill a Mockingbird? I thought about him. Ultimately, I picked Robert Duvall in The Godfather. Tom Hagen is the character. He's the consigliere of the Corleone family. And yeah, he's like in the shadows. He's kind of quiet, but like he definitely delegates some, like he orchestrated the horse in the head thing at the beginning.
So you want a criminal?
Well, he can get the job done.
Okay.
And he's
Look where
good
that
with
thinking is
handling-
getting
well,
us.
You need at least a few of those people that are sane, and he's very competent, I would say.
All right.
And I liked having someone from The Godfather in my cabinet. But I don't know. It just felt like he's in a suit the whole time.
And that's what matters.
Yeah.
That's what matters here, ladies and
White
gentlemen.
man in a suit to tell you what to do is really what the case is. So
Oh, man. I still think juror number 8's going to win out on this one. But Who do you want me to
And
do now?
that's just a private citizen who was not racist. And
It's been
convinced
many
11
years.
racists to not vote.
It's been
against
many years. Maybe he has brushed up and gone to law school. You know, come to think of it, I probably should have picked Elle Woods.
Well, speaking of Elle Woods, I have her as my UN ambassador.
Oh, what a good choice.
Yeah, obviously she's trying to, or she becomes a lawyer at the end. So she could have been attorney general. But I also thought, you know, like, if she's UN ambassador, she is like the ultimate, like, socialite, but like in a political way to like geopolitical way to make sure we have good relationships with all the countries. Again, like some of these other picks I've said would be like a good face to run that position, I guess. Like in the movie, she's super social and bubbly and like talkative and like wants to be nice to people, and I think she would be a good UN ambassador.
That's a good pick. My UN ambassador is Jo March from Little Women, because she is the leader of her family, you know, her little troop of little women. And I just thought that she's extremely well-spoken, which is what you kind of have to be as an ambassador of the UN. Like, you have to be able to speak for your country and like speak in behalf of your country. And so I figured she would do that from the lens of, you know, women. And I like that.
That's Saoirse Ronan character.
Yes.
Yeah. I was thinking about Little Women because obviously there's 4 highly educated, like, intelligent women that are in the story that I was thinking about. But yeah, she's a good pick for that.
Yes, we had to have a little woman on the cabinet. Tuck her away. And yeah. I can do Secretary of the Interior.
Okay, what is it?
So I don't know shit about shit when it comes to the interior. Does that mean like the interior decorator? Does that mean the interior of our country? Does that mean like you're just the secretary of like the inside of the country? Like, I don't know. I'm going to be like listening to this in 2 years and be like, wow, I was so stupid. Now I know everything. But I had to pick somebody that I thought could really instill fear in men that do bad things in this country, because that is, frankly, my number one priority in life is to be no man's peace. And I think this woman embodies that and will just be like, don't fuck around with me or other women because I'm going to come for you. And it's kind of a hybrid of Maxine and Pearl. She's like, I'm a star. I'm going to be the number one person here. If you get in my way, I will kill you. And I think if you're going to do anything for the interior of our country, there should be a little bit of like the fear of God being struck into the hearts of men. Also, I just think somebody in the cabinet needs to be like highly addicted to cocaine. And if I had to pick one person, it's going to be her.
That's a good pick. Yeah, I was trying to get Mia Goth on my cabinet. I couldn't squeeze her in just quite. Yeah, Maxine and Pearl, yeah, you kind of come down. I did both characters. I was thinking either one would have been good, or also her in Infinity Pool because she's just so crazy. But yeah, for my interior pick, I picked Bo Burnham from Inside.
Great choice.
And I saw you watch it recently, and then it made me reminded me of it. And again, I have no idea what interior means. I guess it would be like a domestic sort of issues and not foreign issues if you're talking interior. But Bo Burnham ultimately is the ruler of Inside, so he's got to figure that out somehow.
That's very true.
So I figure he would get it.
He'd get the job done.
I don't know what the job is to be done.
Yeah, interior, inside. I see what you're doing there. I like it. Do you want to go ahead with your agriculture pick?
Okay, so I picked Alvin from The Straight Story.
Oh, what a great choice.
Riding his lawnmower. He knows a thing or two about agriculture. And I just watched it recently, and I wanted to shout it out. It's a really good movie, and I think it's Richard Farnsworth as the actor. He was incredible and
got an Oscar nom for that role.
Yeah, and like ultimately he's not really doing the act of agriculture in the film, but
I mean,
he's kind of doing part of the job by using his lawnmower. Anyway, who was your pick?
So this was somebody you've already mentioned, but I thought they would be better suited for the agriculture role because this is what they like are most kind of known for, and that's Samwise Gamgee. I figured,
I'm glad he's in your cabinet.
of course. Of course.
He's the ultimate gardener.
Yeah. Like,
and all the hobbits have to grow their own food, basically. So, like...
But, like, he's the gardener for the Baggins. And that literally is why he gets picked to go on the adventure, because he's just their gardener.
Yeah.
Like, literally, what else would you pick besides? It makes sense to me.
Secretary of Labor.
Okay.
For some reason, this was my hardest one to figure out.
Who
was your pick?
I took this as who can work. Like WERK. And truly, I couldn't think of one person who really knows how to work it. So I picked two, and it is PJ and Josie from Bottoms, because they know how to work. They know how to get stuff done. They know how to...
Great picks.
I know. And just honestly, I feel like they're willing to put in the work. And that's really what labor is all about, is putting in the work. And that's my speech.
Yeah, I was thinking of it kind of like that. Like, I was thinking of more of like how... Like, it seemed like it was like a pro-union type of, like,
Yeah.
How do we get the workers to unite and have better conditions? And
probably something to do with, like, unemployment and things like that as well.
Yeah, and, like, also the efficiencies of actual labor workings. Like, so I picked...
and services, too.
I picked Sully from Monsters, Inc.
Oh, wow.
I figured he figures out the laughing is better for the economy than scaring kids, and then he overthrows the corrupt corporation, the Mr. Waternoose, the spider dude. Yeah, like, he basically within his own company becomes like the best employee, reconfigures the entire organization, is super pro worker, and wants everyone to be happy and have a good working environment. And then ultimately, with getting laughter out of the kids instead of scaring them, it's making their lives better too. So it's like he's like winning on all these fronts. And I feel like he would figure stuff out for labor.
I feel like he's very pro labor, pro union, pro all of those, workers' rights.
Yeah, he's one of those.
He'd raise the minimum wage.
Work a lot and likes to figure out the processes of how to get stuff done.
I like it. Who do you have for, this is an important one, Health and Human Services?
Okay, so for this one, I immediately thought of this pick, and it's Osmosis Jones from Osmosis Jones, as voiced by Chris Rock. This is the animated film that's with inside real life Bill Murray, who's sick, and Osmosis Jones as a white blood cell police officer who is kind of an outcast, and then he ends up going back inside Frank's body through this like cough pill guy, and they have to maneuver around the actual human body of Bill Murray and make him feel better. And like, that's kind of a brief, vague outline of the movie. It's a great movie. I think you should watch it. And
I've seen it.
I'm just, whoever's listening,
the audience.
Yeah, so if he's running Health and Human Services, like, if there's any pandemic or, like, contagion of any kind, he can actually go inside patient zero and figure things out, or, like, he can actually directly inject us with vaccines or something.
That might scare some people.
That's fine. They can be scared, but...
Ultimately, Chris Rock's got it.
Yeah, I think it's a great pick. Who's your pick?
My pick is somebody that is kind of working directly in the field of, the human anatomy specifically, and somebody that maybe had humble beginnings and maybe wasn't necessarily the greatest and maybe the brightest at first, but they have a passion for the human body in multiple ways. And that is Bella Baxter from Poor Things. I think she comes from, Godwin Baxter, who is in the medical field. Obviously, she goes to medical school at some point in the movie and in the book, and she becomes very well versed in the human body.
She's very smart by the end.
I also think she's very pro human pleasure and pleasure activism and things like that, which I think is extremely important, and I think is missing from a lot of Health and Human Services. You know, we talk about vaccines and food dyes and whatever, but we don't usually talk about like sexual wellness. And I think she's kind of an advocate for that. So take that as it is. I feel like she could lead us to being more liberated in that way.
It's a different form of human services. I think her and my pick for Secretary of State, Lee Holloway, would have success at that role.
Yeah.
But just real quick, so I created one position to kind of piggyback off of Health and Human Services. I made specifically the Secretary of Mental Health.
What a great department.
And I was going to do like maybe 3 or 4 other ones. I was thinking like technology or climate. And then like you just mentioned sexual health would be possibly another one. But I did mental health because I feel like if you separate that out, it gets more funding or whatever. So I put Totoro from My Neighbor Totoro.
Aww.
Just get a little cuddle from him and you'll feel better. And he'll like fly away on his umbrella and you'll be fine. So
I love that. What a great pick.
So who is your Secretary of Transportation?
Okay. I hate to do this again, but it's another 2 people because...
Okay, you're just doubling up on...
Well, lots of people that are 2 people are being proposed to run different departments that don't even fucking exist. So why can't I do the same thing? And my pick obviously is somebody, well, 2 people that can really get the job done when it comes to just understanding transportation as a whole and understanding and operating multiple different types of vehicles and multiple different forms of transportation and doing it very fast. And I picked Max Rockatansky and Furiosa from Mad Max because I think they know a thing or two about gasoline.
That's great.
They might not even stop fracking, honestly. Like, who knows?
Yeah, the amount of unique vehicles they maneuver and drive around is like probably qualifies them enough to do transportation.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like, you know, there's a lot of kind of like fictional people you could pick for something like this where it's like, oh, you know, somebody who's stopped a moving train or blah, 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 blah. It's like, you don't want to stop moving trains. You want to get them going. And that they get things going. They're racing through
Very
the
resourceful as well.
Extremely resourceful. Yeah, so that's my pick for that. Who do you have?
So I picked the girl who drives the car and drives my car, Misaki Watari. Just the ultimate form of transportation, driving a little car around. I think she
knows how to drive.
Managed her way around that. Yeah, like ultimately, you know, other forms of transportation I didn't really, because it's like your thing also like airplanes, trains, you mentioned, I guess maybe boats, but like we would definitely have the cars down for sure with her. And so I think we start with cars. Maybe she's very well learned and can figure out airplanes and trains on the job, but at least our cars will be running smoothly with her at the wheel. Okay, so my next one is Secretary of Energy.
Mm-hmm.
This might be controversial. This is like my one villain.
Wait.
I have Doc Ock.
I put the same thing.
Spider-Man 2. We did it. I knew we were going to match on one.
How did we pick the same one?
Yeah, I can't get the image of him with the glasses out of my mind where he's like looking at the fusion orange ball thing and like, this is the power of the sun or whatever he says.
He would invest in solar energy.
He's good in fusion and fission. There's a difference. Can't explain it right now.
He knows the difference. We don't know the difference.
Yeah. That's why we put him in this position. And I think jointly we agreed, and it's really funny.
I think we could turn him good if we told him like harness the power of the sun for good. And we could
like do like for 1 hour a day.
Yeah.
Like it would like make all of our lights in the houses and like all the power across the nation like would work.
Yes.
Just by doing that, we wouldn't have to waste resources on other things, and he can just like stare at his little orange ball.
Yeah.
It also kind of reminds me of the Sunshine movie we just watched.
Yeah.
Where like they're actually
Sun Man.
Yeah, he's kind of already full of energy as himself. But
that's funny. It's so funny we picked the same. You literally go, I'm gonna pick something and it's kind of controversial because it's my first villain, and I was like, Don't tell me we picked the same. We did.
That's
We
awesome.
did it. Who do you have for Secretary of Education?
I had two options, and I was really trying to find a few more, but the one I almost picked was Paul Giamatti and the Holdovers. But ultimately, he's too much of a curmudgeon to, like, I really want him around all the time. So I picked Dewey Finn, Jack Black in School of Rock, where he's just teaching kids how to play rock and roll music.
Mm-hmm.
It was hard to figure out a lot of other teachers. I mean, I guess I could have gone more into like Harry Potter, which you might have done, but I picked Jack Black because he's really good in that movie.
I took it a different angle. You and I have recently been talking about the fact that the literacy rate in our country is actually extremely low. Like not a lot of people can read past like a 6th grade reading level. Like that show, Are You Smarter Than a 5th Grader? Like most people actually would not be smarter than a 5th grader. And that's like a scary realization. So I thought to myself, I could pick somebody that's a professor. I could pick a character that's a teacher. But like, I don't think some of these American people are even getting there. I don't think that there's some people that are even like have ever set foot in a classroom or have stayed in a classroom for long. So I was trying to think of somebody who could really meet people where they are, sort of like an on-the-ground person that can just like really help people understand things from the lens of just like a very dumb layman. So I picked Borat. I don't know why, but like I just loved the subsequent movie film. I thought it was so good. It's in my like favorite movies of all time list because it's just such a snapshot of like the 2020s and what was happening with people.
Just a third one now.
Yeah, I honestly, and it's just such a funny movie in terms of he's just playing kind of this bumbling dumb guy, but will expose people's like internal logical fallacies very easily. I kind of like almost compare him to like an on the ground street interviewer, just because it's like one of those things where you ask someone a question, then you ask a follow-up and they're like, huh? Like, actually, I don't know why I think that. But I also think Borat does it in a sort of like, you could sort of look at it from a third person's perspective and be like, I'm learning something here. And I don't know why. I just have always thought that style is quite funny to me.
Yeah, I was thinking of maybe picking a smart person like maybe Oppenheimer or an adjacent version of that. But like I was like, I'd rather just have a teacher who actually can get people to learn things and not just someone who's really smart who needs to explain complex things. So who is your Secretary of Homeland Security?
So this is another one that I thought of as being kind of a role that is sort of a protector of our, peace, and somebody that needs to defend us against things potentially. And I rewatched this movie recently and thought, like, who else would I want in charge of my country and like of all of Homeland Security but this person? It's Lieutenant Aldo Raine from Inglourious Bastards.
Who's that actor?
Brad Pitt.
Okay, yeah.
I just really think it's funny how he conducts himself, and he's completely ruthless with enemies, but it's kind of like justified rage because they're literally killing Nazis. But I just like how he says it. He's like, we're killing Nazis. And like, he's just like from Tennessee or something. And he's like, I didn't leave the great state of Tennessee to come over here to not kill any Nazis. Like he's like willing to put it all on the line. One of the greatest comedic war characters I've seen in a movie in a long time that you're kind of rooting for. So yeah, I thought it would be good because he would certainly protect us from tyranny of any kind. So yeah, I thought that was a good one.
This one I didn't really think too much about because I had an initial inkling of MacGruber.
What a great... Between the two of us, we have Borat and MacGruber in our cabinets.
Yeah, I was gonna like investigate like actual security guards or like action hero type dudes in movies who would like you said, kind of like protect the homeland. I mean, MacGruber is like ultimately super resourceful and can figure things out on the fly, really funny, which I think would help us in some way. He's just always surviving explosions, and so it makes me think that he somehow would survive some sort of attack on us and prevent further damage, I guess.
I like it. I think that is a great choice. We could just have a joint cabinet.
Yeah, we can just double up on all these.
Yeah, for sure.
Why not?
Let's do Veterans Affairs. Who do you have for Veterans Affairs?
I have Rambo from First Blood,
That's
Sylvester
really good.
Stallone, who is a veteran, who is trying to rework himself into society. And, you know, he has an episode and he, like, goes in the woods and thinks he's back in Vietnam. But I think he would know what well, especially back in that time. I know we're talking specifically USA post-Vietnam, because that's what he is. He would understand people at that time, what they need, and what Veterans Affairs could provide for them and make them feel better after serving for the military. So,
I like that.
but he's also like a super macho guy, and people would respect him.
Yeah, for sure. So my Veterans Affairs, you know, thinking about it in comparison to Rambo makes him kind of look like a soy boy pick. However, I have very good reasoning for why I picked this person. Number one, I wanted a sexier Adam Driver in my cabinet. If I can have two Adam Drivers, I'll be happy, but I wanted a sexier one. Number two,
I'm saying Megalopolis Adam Driver is not the sexy Adam Driver.
did we watch the same movie? He is so unsexy in that movie. But second reason that I have this character in this role is that I am conflating the actual Adam Driver in this role because Adam Driver is a veteran.
Yeah, that's true.
And I just can't see past that.
You're picking Kylo Ren.
I'm picking Kylo Ren.
I thought that was a joke.
I also think
I thought you
he's...
picked Patterson
No.
or somebody.
No. It's Kylo Ren. I just think he could get the job done. I think he understands a thing or two about...
But he's basically a fascist.
No. If he's so bad, like...
He doesn't care about the stormtroopers.
Why is he so sexy then?
Finn abandoned him, and he wanted to kill Finn, and he didn't care about the stormtroopers.
I
that's a
think
terrible pick.
I think that
And
if...
I like Kylo Ren more than everybody listening to this.
No,
I'm
you
just
do
kidding.
not. I
No, do
definitely like
him.
him more. But I just think, like, if he's so bad, then why do I like him so much? And I just think that, like,
Maybe
honest...
find your sexual health secretary.
No, I think he should be in charge of Veterans Affairs because I feel like he's got like this PTSD type quality about him. And he would be like, you know what? For all the people out there that are like me, I'm going to fight for you. And I will get really mad at people if you do not get your benefits. That's kind of what I thought of. But that's just me. And I also, again, needed to have two Adam Drivers in my cabinet, and one of them had to be sexy. So that's my pick there.
Yeah, I was thinking about doubling up on actual actors, and I didn't. I almost picked two of this one person, and we have yet to name him at all because he is leading my director of national intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't pick this person, then I definitely won this contest. That we
Oh,
weren't deeming a contest until
sorry, I picked a woman.
you picked a woman for national intelligence.
What, she can't do the job?
I'm not saying that.
Oh, okay, mister. I picked
She
President
can't do a better
Barbie.
job than Ethan Hunt from Mission Impossible.
Well, fuck, man.
I mean, come on. This is like his wheelhouse. He's gonna
Shit.
know exactly what to do.
I would have done director of the CIA, but we didn't do that.
Well, he's not a part of the CIA. He's above it in a different realm.
That's what I mean.
So yeah, if Ethan Hunt is running the national intelligence, then we should be in a good spot.
Yeah.
And I almost picked another Tom Cruise character earlier, but this is my one Tom Cruise, so I only have one each of people. But so who is your lady national intelligence?
Oh, okay. You have to preface it with, who's your lady? I picked somebody who is a winner, even if it's kind of against all odds, and they kind of know how to make sure that, I don't know, they make sure that they are a winner, and that's kind of what I see as the main job of Director of National Intelligence, is to be a winner. Amber Atkins from Drop Dead Gorgeous, just because I like the line where she's like,
Kirsten Dunst.
yeah, the line where she's like, "This is not a beauty pageant. This is Nazi Germany." I like that movie a lot. I watched it for the first time this year, and she kind of needed a place in the cabinet because, like, I kind of want to keep her around. And I didn't think of Ethan Hunt. I should have thought of Ethan Hunt, but
It was like one of the first ones I made. It was like, this is easy.
frankly, though, I feel like if they were in the same universe, she might actually be able to take him out. That's how much of like a crazy, like through the like weird forces of nature, she just wins. And like that's what I'm saying is that like it really like Godzilla might not have a chance against her, depending on what happens in that, timeline.
Yeah, there was other actresses and actors I was wanting to put on the list. I mean, we could have made this a little bit longer, but I think this was a good exercise.
I think there were definitely like other characters that I would have, if I could pick out characters that I feel like are good leaders, I could name some, but I wouldn't know where to put them.
Yeah, I was also thinking of like Star Wars characters, and it's funny you picked Kylo Ren, and I didn't pick a single Star Wars character, and then neither of us picked a Harry Potter character. Just thinking of big franchises that have lots of characters that we like.
And out of Lord of the Rings, we literally picked
Samwise.
Yeah, like I thought like Aragorn would be a great pick.
I also have him with the president.
Honestly, I thought of the same thing, but I was like, I don't know. He's more of like an army general. He's more of like but there's lots of other great like leadership quality characters. But I ultimately, I just kind of wanted to have fun with this. So that seemed like an obvious good answer. And why not have Borat instead?
Yeah, I really liked making this list.
I had fun with it too. It's been a nice little hyperfixation for me.
Well, thanks for listening and hope you enjoyed.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.